2016 election was a banner year for disingenuous and despicable disinformation. And one of the most disgusting examples was a specific conspiracy theory that sullied the memory of a man who had been murdered. Seth Rich worked for the Democratic National Committee in the Voter Protection Division, and he was, by the accounts of his family and friends, a great guy and a loyal member of the DNC. But after his murder, which remains 3 years later unsolved, conspiracy theorists started floating the false and totally baseless idea that the hack of the DNC emails was not in fact a hack, but was actually an inside job, a leak, and that Seth Rich was the source. It was a theory that, of course, conveniently provided an exculpatory story for the Russians, who were, of course, actually behind the DNC hack. There was no evidence to support the Seth Rich conspiracy theory, and it slandered the name of a man who'd been murdered, but it started in the bowels of the internet and worked its way up to the high-profile outlets and to the White House itself.
Let's start with the Seth Rich issue, Jay, and the timeline here. Is it possible that this whole Russian narrative was, and the leaks really came from a DNC staffer, and that the media has been wrong for almost a year?
Well, Sean, the media has not been right yet.
As a 27-year-old works for the DNC, who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington.
And what are you suggesting?
Well, I'm suggesting that our sources take risks.
We are just 2 months shy of the one-year anniversary of Seth Rich's murder, and ever since we learned Rich was a DNC staffer, the conspiracy theories online have taken a life of their own. But today, Fox 5 has learned there is new information that could prove these theorists are, in fact, right.
We have this very strange story now of this young man who worked for the Democratic National Committee, who apparently was assassinated at 4 in the morning, having given WikiLeaks something like 53,000 emails and 17,000 attachments. Nobody's investigating that.
Okay, that's, just to be clear, that's false and baseless, and that is dragging the name of this murdered individual through the mud and re-traumatizing his family and friends. That's what Newt Gingrich is doing there. And now there is new exclusive reporting about the actual origins of the Seth Rich conspiracy theory, and maybe you can guess where it is. That reporting was broken by Michael Isikoff, chief investigative correspondent for Yahoo News, host of the new podcast from Yahoo News, Conspiracy Land. One of the first episodes is all about the origin of the Seth Rich conspiracy theory. Great to have you here and great reporting.
Great to be with you, Chris.
What is the origin of this?
Well, as you suggested, it's not that big of a surprise, although nobody knew it. The Russian intelligence agency, the SVR, their version of the CIA, circulates a bulletin 3 days after Seth Rich's death, saying he was gunned down by a squad of assassins hired by Hillary Clinton walking home at 4 in the morning on a Sunday morning. There was absolutely no evidence for this whatsoever. The same day that the SVR circulates this, it pops up on this obscure website, whatdoesitmean.com, that is a vehicle for Russian propaganda. And from there, it migrates to 4chan and Reddit. And soon, within a few weeks, Roger Stone is on it, tweeting a picture of Seth Rich saying, you know, another dead body in the Clintons' wake. From there, Julian Assange, that same day, picks up on it, suggests that Seth Rich was his source.
Which, by the way, I just want to be clear, that is a particularly despicable thing to do.
Absolutely.
Because the whole thing that they always say at WikiLeaks, we don't say anything with sources, and that's what everyone says, every reporter says that, to imply that a guy who's been killed was your source.
Right.
I mean, that is really vile.
Well, we talked to the Dutch TV reporter who interviewed Assange for that interview, and he was astounded by what Assange was saying. He couldn't grasp it. This is episode 2 in our podcast. You got to listen to the just the exchange he has with Assange and his reaction to what Assange is saying. And you know what was really particularly cynical about what Assange was doing? Seth Rich was killed on July 10th. We know from the Mueller report and the indictment when the GRU online persona, Guccifer 2.0, sends that archive of emails. It was July 14th. It was 4 days after Seth Rich was dead. So Assange knew from the get-go that
He was
Seth
lying,
Rich
yes.
could not have been his source.
And it's this, I mean, I should also say that my beloved magazine, The Nation, that I worked at for years, and the masthead, ran stories dabbling in this. Like, this got to lots of places. There were left venues that adopted it. There were conservative venues, all the way up to Sean Hannity and local news stations. I mean, this was everywhere.
And we should point out the Trump White House. We have text messages from Steve Bannon.
This is crazy.
Huge story. It was a contract kill, obviously.
He's texting a CBS journalist saying this was a contract killing. Like, this becomes, I mean, this harkens back to the Whitewater years when, you know, the head of the Oversight Committee, Dan Burton, is shooting a melon in his backyard. No, seriously.
Because very similar. And
this idea that, like, the Clintons are on this murder spree.
Right. Look, I mean, this was, in many ways, the cruelest conspiracy theory to arise out of the 2016 election. We talked to the parents, and it's heart-rendering when you listen to them. You know, Mary Rich, the mother of Seth Rich, says, this is like losing my son all over again, what she has been subjected to see her son's reputation and name sullied in this, you know, bizarre, crazed conspiracy theory meme.
And they've had to fight tooth and nail. I mean, they, I think, filed lawsuits and eventually got Sean Hannity to apologize and essentially stop promulgating this.
I don't know if you can call it an apology. He did say,
out of respect
for Seth Rich, out of respect for the family, he was not going to continue to promote it.
And the entire thing was a seed planted by Russian intelligence.
Yes. And that is the astounding thing about this.
Wild. It is wild. I mean, because sometimes, you know, you think, look, we've got enough. You know, we don't need the Russians to, like, seed us with nutty ideas. There's enough just organically. And we don't need them to seed us with divisions online. There's enough organically. But here's, like, a concrete example. Like, it was them. They started it. But here's, like, a concrete example. Like, it was them. They started it.
It was them. It's an old tradition, goes back to Cold War days, active measures promoting conspiracy theories.
All right, Michael Issoff, great reporting. Check out the podcast. Thank you.